This CD, it features my compositions and arrangements played by an all-star cast of musicians. Michael Philip Mossman on trumpet. We have Joe Magnarelli, another trumpet player, and my lead trumpet is Nick Marchione, who's the other lead player in the Vanguard Band. Some of the great soloists include Ralph Bowen on tenor saxophone. It was recorded in just outside New York City at Bennett Studios. Revisions or regarding visions. You could look at it two different ways. Really, there is this double meaning to it. It can be read as revisions. I find that pretty much with all of my music. I work it and rework it to get it right over time. And then there's the vision aspect. If I'm saying regarding visions, you know, I really have a vision to try and do something new to make my music relevant for today. I'm not trying to recreate the sounds of big bands past.
Do you own a Cadillac?
I do not own a Cadillac. I used to own a great big Oldsmobile, which no one thought was cool, but I loved it. That's one that I arranged for Maynard Ferguson's band. I remember a group of us sitting in a hotel room one evening, you know, brainstorming as to, you know, what would make the ideal set opener. We were always trying to, you know, break into his set list, you know, because it was hard to get a song actually in the rotation. So we thought, maybe we join forces and think a little bit about, you know, what would be really exciting and would be an attention grabber and really energetic. I was teaching a class on the idea of writing contrafact melodies. So basically the idea there is that you write a different melody on top of the harmonic progression of some tune, right? That night I had this horrible, horrible dream. I remember waking up the next day and this image just wouldn't leave me. It was plaguing me, right? And my class was at noon, and you know, I had an hour between 11 and 12. I thought, okay, I'm going to write this melody, but I kept thinking about this image, right? So I decided to go with the song "You Stepped Out of a Dream," and to write a different melody over top of that, and so I entitled it "Bad Dream." I was in a meeting one day, and it was like everything that I presented, this one person was trying to derail it, you know, and I was just furious. And I couldn't understand their motivations, you know, so, you know, I went back to my office and sat down at the keyboard and was just, you know, playing and improvising. I tend to do that sometimes when I'm, you know, rather than, you know, some people might have to go to the gym and work out their frustrations. I tend to, like, sit at the keyboard and just kind of, you know, meander in my improvisations and kind of work out some of my issues, you know. So really this tune developed out of that, you know, and I started thinking of this situation not only from my perspective and how angry I was at the person, but I tried to think about the other person's slant and why it is that they might have been upset or what they might have thought my agenda was. And Woody and You is a composition written by the late great Dizzy Gillespie. And Dizzy, he was known for, you know, he was one of the first people to amalgamate the two styles of Latin American rhythms with jazz, right? So this piece wasn't one of those that was originally done in that style, but I thought, okay, it's a Dizzy tune, let's take it even further than that, right? Let's put it in a full-blown salsa dance style, you know, complete with a mambo at the end. And so that's the basic idea. It's got one of those driving montunos in the piano section. It's lots of fun. Woohoo is actually written as a tribute to Art Blakey, the great jazz drummer. And the title came to mind mid-lecture one day. I was teaching a jazz history class, and I asked if anyone knew who Art Blakey was, or the Jazz Messengers, and not a single person in this large class, about 60 students, no one knew who Art Blakey was. What a shame this is, you know, therefore the boo-hoo, right? But, you know, Blakey was one of the seminal and most important figures in the history of jazz music and modern jazz, and none of them knew. So it really made me think about my responsibility and how important it is that I, you know, be perpetuating the history of the music and introducing them to these players. That piece has to do with pre-parental jitters. My wife was 9 months pregnant, and I was completely anxiety-ridden on many, many levels, right? thinking about how am I going to measure up as a dad, you know, am I going to be a complete failure at this? How is my life going to change? Everyone keeps saying, your life will never be the same, and I'm like, yikes, what will be stripped from me? You know, what will I not be able to do anymore? What's really going to change? So that's what that piece really was about, and I think that some of those anxieties came through in the music. It's actually written by Victor Feldman, pianist and vibraphonist that play with Miles Davis. But this is a piece that I arranged originally, again, for Maynard Ferguson's band. And it's kind of a simple melody, which Maynard liked at that point because he didn't want to be, bogged down with having played too many notes on the written page at that stage in his career, you know. Jana is my wife, and this is a piece that I wrote for her as a surprise on our wedding day. And originally it was scored for 3 horns, trumpet, saxophone, and trombone with piano. And coincidentally, my groomsmen play those instruments, and we had those instruments hidden underneath the pews in the church where we got married. And on cue, they pulled them out and we played this song. And later I went on to arrange it for full jazz orchestra, and I orchestrated it and developed it within the BMI Jazz Composers Workshop.
Where would you recommend that people pick up your brand new CD complete with mathematics textbook cover?
It's available through cdbaby.com. If you just go to their site and then enter my name under search at the beginning, then you'll find it. Or you can go to my website, earlmacdonald.com, or even iTunes, so you can download this thing onto your iPod.